Football isn't just about goals. It's about moments that turn into memories. The last-minute winners, the shocking upsets, the matches where heroes are made and favorites fall. That's what makes every single game unpredictable. And that's exactly why we're here. Today, we're diving deep into the fixtures you can't afford to miss, giving you correct score predictions, betting insights, and analysis that go beyond the headlines. We'll look at form, tactics, and key players who could decide it all, because in football, one pass, one mistake, or one moment of brilliance can change everything. Whether you're backing the big clubs, hunting for underdog surprises, or just love the thrill of guessing the right score, you're in the right place. So buckle up and stay with us, because the next few minutes could change how you see today's games and might just give you that winning edge. Wigan versus Salford. Correct score 2-0. Prediction: Wigan win. Wigan comes into this clash looking solid and confident, and on paper they have what it takes to control the tempo of the game. Their home record speaks volumes. They know how to press at the right moments and punish opponents when chances come. Salford, on the other hand, have struggled to find consistency on the road. They often start with energy, but their defensive shape doesn't always hold up under pressure, especially against sides that know how to push forward effectively. This is the kind of matchup where patience pays off. Wigan won't need to rush. Instead, they'll look to wear Salford down, create gaps, and strike when it matters. With their stability at the back and ability to stretch defenses, it feels like a game where they'll keep things under control from start to finish. That's why the prediction here is a 2-0 victory for Wigan. A clean sheet, a professional performance, and the kind of result that shows why they're a tough team to beat on their own turf. Bradford City versus Grimsby. Correct score 2-1. Prediction: both teams to score yes. Studio microphone *. This is one of those fixtures where the balance of play promises drama. Bradford City at home are usually a tough side to crack. They like to push forward with intensity, especially when the crowd is behind them, and that pressure often leads to goals. Grimsby, however, are not the type of team that sits back quietly. They always find a way to test their opponents, even when they're away from home. The real story here is about attacking intent versus defensive discipline. Bradford should have the edge going forward, but Grimsby's ability to carve out chances on the counter makes them dangerous. Expect moments where Bradford looks in control, only for Grimsby to break through and remind everyone that this won't be a one-sided game. That's why the call here is a 2-1 victory for Bradford City, with both teams getting on the scoresheet. Bradford's home strength should see them over the line, but Grimsby will make sure it's far from comfortable. Luton versus Barnet. Correct score 1-1. Prediction: Luton win or draw. This is the kind of match where every small detail matters. Luton, especially at home, rarely go down without a fight. They might not always dominate from start to finish, but their resilience keeps them in games that could easily slip away from other teams. Barnet, on the other hand, come into this fixture with confidence. They've shown they can push opponents and aren't afraid to take risks when the opportunity comes. What we're likely to see is a tight battle, with both sides having spells of control. Barnet will look to catch Luton out with quick transitions, while Luton will rely on their ability to grind out results when under pressure. Goals are expected to be limited, but the contest itself should be intense and evenly matched. That's why the prediction here is a 1-1 draw, but with safety on Luton to win or draw. They have the strength to avoid defeat, even if Barnet make them work hard for every point. Swindon versus Reading. Correct score 0-1. Prediction: Reading win. This fixture has the feel of a tactical battle rather than a high-scoring thriller. Swindon will try to make the most of their home advantage, but they've often struggled to break down well-organized sides. Reading, meanwhile, come in with a disciplined approach, built on structure and patience. They don't need a flurry of goals to win, they just need to take their moment when it comes. Expect Swindon to push early, using energy and the home crowd to their advantage, but Reading are the type of team that stays calm under pressure. As the game settles, their compact defense and clever transitions could frustrate Swindon and eventually tilt the balance. That's why the prediction here is a 1-0 win for Reading. It won't be a runaway scoreline, but a controlled performance and a single decisive moment should be enough to secure the victory. Huddersfield versus Newcastle U21. Correct score 2-0. Prediction: Huddersfield win. This looks like a game where experience should outweigh youth. Huddersfield, playing on their own ground, have the structure and maturity to control the rhythm of the match. They're not a team that usually leaves big gaps at the back, and when they settle into their shape, they can be very hard to break down. Newcastle U21 will no doubt bring energy and pace, but at this level, raw energy can only get you so far. Against a side like Huddersfield, it's often not enough to simply attack. You need discipline, and that's where the gap between the two sides could show. The most likely scenario is Huddersfield absorbing that early burst of enthusiasm from Newcastle U21, then gradually taking control, creating the clearer chances, and striking at the right moments. That's why the call here is a 2-0 win for Huddersfield. A steady performance, a clean sheet, and a result that underlines the difference between seasoned discipline and youthful ambition. Plymouth versus Cheltenham. Correct score 2-1. Prediction: Plymouth win. This clash promises to be closer than it looks on paper. Plymouth, especially at home, know how to play on the front foot and create pressure that unsettles visiting teams. They're strong at forcing the tempo, keeping the ball in dangerous areas, and making their dominance count. Cheltenham, however, are not the type to roll over easily. They've shown resilience in tough games, and even when under pressure, they often find a way to sneak a goal and stay competitive. That's what makes this fixture interesting. Plymouth may be the stronger side overall, but Cheltenham will look to make life difficult and keep it tight for long spells. In the end, though, Plymouth's home strength should be the difference. Expect them to control large parts of the game, create more chances, and edge past Cheltenham in a hard-fought battle. That's why the prediction here is a 2-1 win for Plymouth. A tough contest, both teams finding the net, but the home side just doing enough to secure all 3 points. And there you have it, today's predictions are locked in. But remember, football is full of surprises. One moment, one chance, one twist can change everything. That's what makes it so exciting, and why every game is worth watching until the very last whistle. If you enjoyed these insights, make sure you stick with us because tomorrow brings another round of matches, fresh predictions, and maybe a few shocks along the way. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's see which of these scorelines hit the mark. The game never sleeps, and neither do we when it comes to keeping you ahead. See you in the next one.